Hey everybody, welcome back to GrowthLoop Live. And for those just joining us, good to see you all. I am incredibly excited by this session. We are going to dig into how to create a culture shift driven by data. This is going to be a transformation story and what you can see as a before and after driven by an incredible person. That person is the great Luke Stenis. He is Principal Product Manager of Data and Engineering at CHG Healthcare, a great leader in its space. He has led strategy and implementation of some exceptionally large data solutions, and he's done it over and over. What also makes him a really special speaker in this case, in no surprise that he's not far from understanding how to use data to drive value in marketing, is he's actually been a marketer himself in a prior life. So it's a great experience. And also on a personal level, he is a killer musician in the Salt Lake City area, which as a fellow musician myself, I find very cool. Luke, great to be with you today. Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. I'm honored to be here. It's a pleasure to be here at GrowthLoop Live and share our story with everyone out there. Can't wait to dig in.
Yeah, for our audience, I had the opportunity to talk with Luke a couple of months ago, hear the story firsthand. And it was actually through that experience we said, man, we got to get you on a stage. This is too cool. You saw an opportunity to change your organization from the data out, which is really the theme of all of this. So I'm excited for us to dig into it here. So everyone needs to see and know who CHG Healthcare is as the backdrop to the story. So can you set the stage for us and tell a little bit about your organization?
Absolutely, Rebecca, and thank you for inviting me out here today to share that stage. CHG is a really special company. It was founded back in 1979 to bring healthcare to rural areas, and we really did create what's called the locum tenens industry, and that really means traveling physician. We've been the leader in healthcare staffing for traveling physicians since 1979, since the day the company was incepted. We are the largest provider of locum tenens services, I believe with about 31% market share right now. We have over 3,000 employees in 11 offices across the country, but our headquarters is in Salt Lake City, Utah, beautiful area of the country if you've ever been there. Our umbrella of brands now reaches at least 6 divisions.
Very cool. And something else that's going to be really important for us to talk about here is CHG's mission. It's going to be one of the key elements we dig into when we tell your story. So let's make sure this audience knows what your mission is, and then we'll make sure we talk about that moving forward too.
Absolutely. And this is the foundation of why we have been successful and have been the market leader since 1979, is because we put people first. And really that's what healthcare is about, is trying to help people be healthy and be the best version of themselves. And that is built on 4 tenets, 4 major core values that CHG really does live and breathe like a heart on their sleeve. It's integrity and ethics. We're constantly trying to improve not only our company and our values and processes, but the people that are staffing these companies as well. We try to keep everything up to a high standard of quality and professionalism. We're constantly trying to grow, which hopefully you can take away from our story today.
Awesome. So we've talked about CHG, your mission. Now let's get into the data story and the transformation. So I want you to paint us a picture of where things all began. And ladies and gentlemen, you may enjoy this picture very much. We had some fun with this visual. But yeah, Luke, tell us a little bit about where things began when it came to your data.
Yes, this visual was provided by our leadership team. We are all aware that not all stories are sunshine and rainbows. Our data situation, our prior state was a dumpster fire, and SSIS was our SQL Server Integration Services. We were running on very old technology, antiquated technology. The prior state was awful. We had dirty data coming from all these different systems. We could have a provider, what we call a doctor in our industry is a provider. We could have 15 records of a provider in our Salesforce implementation and not even be aware of it. As you saw on that previous slide, we have at least 6 different divisions that we've acquired over time. And there was a lot of internal competition for our sales teams and our sales enablement divisions competing against each other for the same doctor and for the same business. It was a horrible experience for our doctors. We would have situations where different divisional sales reps were calling the same doctor in the same day. They'd get 3 or 4 calls from CHG, but from different divisions. And this is a horrible experience for them. And it's a horrible experience for a sales team as well, as they're just trying to help bring doctors and jobs together and staff hospitals so that we can bring healthcare to people who need it. And the prior state, yeah, get out your marshmallows, because it really was a trash can fire.
It was. It sounds like it. And then what I also want everyone to know is that in addition to this challenge, you're in a context where there was a lot of scale and complexity, which was making this even harder. And I want to make sure everyone understands why CHG had such complexity in this organization particularly, and how that added to the challenge.
Absolutely. So as we grew over the decades, we started to bring in different divisions under our umbrella to take care of certain major processes and functions across healthcare staffing. And they each operated in a certain level of independence within each other to try to help provide different solutions in different areas of need. And that brought different systems, it brought different processes, it brought different strategies and leadership styles. And trying to bring that all together at scale, as some of you may know and are dealing with this right now in your company, it's incredibly complex. And it's a hard solution to bring forward at scale with a unified strategy. And so you're running into a problem, name it, we've dealt with it, and we're really trying to move forward with this scale and complexity and solve this problem from the data out.
Yeah, so each of these groups were a different acquisition over time. And so your organization had to think about how to reconcile and leverage all the data, and how each surfaced different data in order to run the organization. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. They all didn't happen at once. We purchased and acquired these companies over time. And over time, we sort of tried to cobble this together with duct tape and chewing gum. And after a while, that just wasn't a viable solution. It really wasn't something that was really delivering the results that we were hoping for. And we finally felt the pain from it.
Yeah. So what was that aha moment then? Obviously, this had been something that had been a challenge for a bit. And what was the straw that broke the camel's back? How did you know that this was a time that this really needed to be addressed, and it was time to really make this a significant investment for your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we were really successful for decades despite all of these problems and pain points that we were feeling with the scale and the complexity of our umbrella of divisions. But it really came from everyone all the way up to the top at leadership feeling this pain. And it was an aha moment that happened in the C-suite, where we just weren't feeling confident in the decisions that we were making. And we were hearing it from our providers. They were telling us they were having a horrible experience. And we just didn't feel confident moving forward because we didn't have the data that we trusted to make the right decisions to provide the best possible experience for our providers, for the hospitals and our clients, and inevitably for the people that were receiving this healthcare. We kept trying to throw more people at it at scale, and it just wasn't working. And you can't scale technology, and you can't scale bad processes. So when we realized we had really bad data just doesn't happen overnight. It's really an output of these bad processes and this bad data entry that was happening in our systems at the desk level. One of the real tipping points for CHG happened right after COVID, when we were seeing in the industry, in our strategic analysis, that our competitors were kept catching up very aggressively, and our market share was shrinking more than we really felt comfortable with. And that was due to our competitors leveraging data and leveraging technology to really provide the right message to the providers at the right time in the way that they wanted to be spoken to and to be reached out with. And we just weren't doing it. We were a very antiquated system. And we, like I said, we were successful despite the lack of our scalability and our technological sophistication. And so it was a real it was a real moment for our leadership when then they came to the conclusion that we really needed to prioritize data and work from the data out instead of from the outside in.
Let's talk about that great quote, going from the data out. How did you know that data and addressing this data challenge was going to be the key element of driving the cultural change that you wanted to see? It's such an interesting idea of starting with the data to bring people together. What gave you that conviction, and then what was the flow for that?
Absolutely. I mean, if you can picture a leadership meeting going over the numbers and watching your market share shrink, and you're like, show me the data of how can we change this? And there was real lack of data integrity. They just didn't trust the data that was being produced by all of our systems throughout the company. This led to mistrust, and they just weren't trusting their decisions and how to move forward. What's that next best action for the company to build the market share, to help and our providers and get them in the jobs they need, and to help our clients and our hospitals fill those jobs at the pace that we needed, that we all saw early this decade. So leadership really made a difficult decision, and that was to prioritize fixing the data and making a data first culture here at SageG, so that we could start from the data first in our systems in the way that we're looking at our business, in order to then start making better decisions that we trust, and knowing with conviction that we are taking the next best action that is best for the company. And so we really took this inside out approach on starting to fix our data so that we could make better decisions as a company and as a leadership team.
Cool. So take us into the future. Let's share with everyone some of the architecture decisions you made in order to bring this to life.
Absolutely. What you're seeing right now is the current state of CHG's data platform. Nothing too earth-shattering, but 2 years ago, it didn't look anything like this. We didn't have an integration layer. We didn't have a source of truth. There's no data store. Everything was point to point. And for a company our size, that's just not scalable. And that's just not the way we need to be future-proofing our data technology. So like I said, we could have a provider in the system 15 times and we wouldn't even know it. And so what you're seeing right now is the current state of our data platform that we have built with gusto, really, and in earnest over the last 2 years. And what has really helped us be successful is this vision, is this roadmap that we sold and evangelized to leadership, and they trusted us because we had such a strong vision and what it would look like in the end. And from there, it was all about executing on this roadmap, building out the right team, and having that passion of delivering a future forward technology in our data platform that could deliver on very trusted decision making, driving that data, enabling our sales teams to know that they have the right data at the right time to talk to that doctor, to talk to that hospital, to deliver the experience that they deserve and that they need to be able to help provide healthcare to the United States.
Awesome. Point out a few of the architecture decisions you made here that you think are really important to the foundation.
Absolutely. I think having a single source of truth is absolutely critical to the success of a company. If you're going in and looking at data from different sources and you're arguing over which number is right, you're going to be spinning your wheels and you're just not going to be moving forward with confidence. Having that 360 view of what a customer is or a provider, understanding their preferences, their history, their experience, and what clients also prefer in a doctor or provider. Having that 360 view coupled with a source of truth, and then able to have data governance and an enterprise model that feeds into reporting and analytics that could also drive ML models and AI capabilities coming out of a data lake or warehouse, which for us was, we chose Snowflake in the cloud, and we couldn't be happier with that decision. Snowflake has been absolutely critical to our success as a data platform team. And coupling that all together and having an integration layer where we're really gathering data from our sources of systems and feeding that into our model has really helped our organization move not only with the velocity that we need, but also with the confidence that we deserve.
Awesome. And so one of the main use cases that I know that you're focused on is that great personalized experience for your providers. So now let's show folks the marketing technology and investments you're making there and what outcomes you hope they will provide.
Absolutely. And this is one of my most passionate areas of the business now. This is my baby here. So what we've done over this year was really centralize all the data that we have from our marketing partners, Google, Meta, Adobe Analytics, Marketing Cloud, but also as a staffing agency, we're posting data on and jobs out on LinkedIn, Indeed, and then we're also sending a lot of marketing campaigns out to very high niche healthcare platforms like Mountain Sky. And then we gather a lot of customer experience data using Qualtrics. So we needed to centralize all of that into Snowflake, build out a marketing data models and a marketing data repo, and then build out what we consider a marketing 360 view of what that provider is. What platforms are they interacting on? Where are they clicking on ads? Where can we reach them? We have some doctors that interact very well on LinkedIn, but we'll never find them on Meta. So we need to know where we want to talk to this provider, where we want to talk to this doctor, where are they at and where are they interacting with our touch points that we have with them. So that's where GrowthLoop entered the picture. And that's where we started our relationship with GrowthLoop. We chose GrowthLoop as our marketing orchestration platform in order to build audiences, customer journeys, and feed in our data models, our marketing data models from Snowflake in order to create highly segmented audiences and be able to execute on our cross-channel marketing campaigns. From there, that feeds back into Snowflake, and we're able to drive data and analytics, feed that into our marketing machine learning models, and be able to start predicting what doctors are interested in locum tenens, who's most likely to churn, how do we match the right provider with the right job based on the data that we have that we've collected. With the help of GrowthLoop, we were able to provide the data and analytics to our data science and our marketing analytics teams in order to deliver the right insight at the right time to our leadership so we can make better decisions and be able to surface the right jobs to the right providers so we can deliver healthcare to this country as quickly as possible.
That's incredible. So major investment in data platform with your partner at Snowflake. Great investments across the marketing technology landscape. Let's talk about implementation, because this, I imagine, was quite the process to get the groups on board to start leveraging this great technology and drive the impact you want to.
Absolutely. This was no small feat. And it was really like herding cats at first. But once we got everyone on board and we had that buy-in from all stakeholders, all the organizations and teams in CHG, we were able to implement this along with GrowthLoop's help so quickly. It really kind of blew the hats off of everyone in the room. So this was sort of our implementation strategy that we moved forward. We really needed to have the end in mind. We needed to know what were we trying to achieve, what were the outcomes we're trying to deliver. And by doing that, we built out an aspirational roadmap, about 3 to 5 years. The way that we were able to do is we break it out into phases or sections. That's more easily digestible chunks of work that we're now able to action upon and break out into quarterly objectives and outcomes that we're working towards. I really think it's important to stick to your conviction of that single source of truth, because there's nothing that wavers confidence like having data coming from 2 different systems that don't match. So stick to your single source of truth. We broke this out into chunks. Then, of course, as you know, 3 to 5 years is hard to predict. You don't know what's going to happen a little further down the roadmap. So you need to be flexible with your roadmap and make sure that roadmap and that flexibility still ties back to the broader company mission and vision. And for us, it was putting people first. And we knew that we needed to, as a company, put data first. So we tied our data, putting data first mission and vision as a project implementation strategy back to our company mission and vision of putting people first. And one thing that's really important, this is really hard work. You have a lot of people across your entire company committing to these huge initiatives that takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to execute on. So make sure that when you have those phases that you're completing, that you're celebrating your team wins. Recognize the people that are working hard to make this come to light, that are really delivering these big initiatives for the company. We were very successful in implementing GrowthLoop this year. I can tell you, every single person that was critical to that implementation in the delivery of our GrowthLoop implementation have been recognized at a company level. Even one today got called out in a org-wide meeting, and we had several win Employees of the Month. So as you can see, the impact that GrowthLoop and our data platform has had on CHG is not going unnoticed all the way up to the CEO.
And then I think it's so smart to think of the people side. And I imagine a lot of folks that are looking to drive major change like this they're thinking about the change management and the change management that's really required to make it successful. And I know change management was also one of your big areas of focus to make this really shine. So walk us through your process for that as well.
That's right. Change is hard. As human beings, we are adverse to change in quite a many facets of our life. And so it's really hard when you get really good at something at your job and now you're being asked to change it. But when you evangelize the benefits and the outcomes and how that can impact the company in a positive way, and you tie that back to the mission and vision, it's a lot easier to get buy-in from everyone on the team that's working hard. Not only the people on the team that are working, but also your executive buy-in. And that's absolutely critical. You absolutely need executive buy-in at every level in order to drive change management effectively and efficiently in the end. And something that was really helpful for us was demoing this outcome, this vision at every level of leadership. We demoed GrowthLoop to the C-suite, to the directors, to the managers, to the individual contributors. I demoed someone in the elevator at one point, like just to get them to buy in. And they're like, okay, enough already. I get it. GrowthLoop's awesome. But they're, of course, being facetious, and we had a good chuckle. The other thing that's really critical is we brought in GrowthLoop and we brought in partners many times in person. Bring everyone into a room. Let them see each other eye to eye, face to face, and evaluate how this tool can deliver on those outcomes and objectives that you've laid out for this big initiative. And it's absolutely critical to invest in training and enablement, not only for the people who are going to be in the trenches, we call the power users, or the people on the teams that are executing through GrowthLoop and building out the data platform, but also train the leadership so they understand how we can use these tools strategically. How can our strategy change at every levels of the business in order to leverage this tool to its capacity? I think that's one thing I've seen in my previous companies that has been the death of a tool, is that the leaders don't know how to use it and they don't change their strategy or bring the tool into the conversation when they're trying to execute on delivering a success to the business. And something that is absolutely critical is never stop talking about it. The minute you stop talking about it, they forget about it. We're all working really hard. We're all context changing all the time across all the different projects and initiatives in our business. And if we're constantly talking about this project, it will be part of that conversation every time. And again, I will never stop reiterating this. Celebrate your wins. Acknowledge the individuals who are putting the hard work, even the ones that have junior in their title. Like, even give the janitor a high five. I mean, celebrate everywhere that you can for that hard work. And that brings this like really strong mentality of one team. We're all in this together. We're all working towards the same outcome, towards the same vision, the same point on the horizon, down the road. We will reach this together. And doing that will motivate everyone on this team to intrinsically want to get this job done and get it done the best to their ability. So motivate your company, motivate your team by constantly selling that future state, because in the end, that will be what causes the change.
So Luke, you must have changed the way so many people work together at CHG at this point with such an incredible technology investment. What gave you the conviction, the strength to push this level of innovation forward?
That's a really great question. I think everyone can agree we don't like dumpster fires, so that was pretty motivating. But really what it came down to was we were very fortunate. We have great leadership. We have a great CEO in Leslie Snavely, and her patience, her buy-in, everyone in the leadership level, providing that confidence that we're doing the right thing, and we will take our time if we need to deliver the right solution the right way. So we felt that support. We felt the buy-in to the mission. The team believed in each other. So we hired the right team. We've hired people that had the passion to do the job that they were put out to do. And we all shared that North Star, that one vision on the horizon to work towards. And we committed 12 to 18 months to this change. And that's a long time sometimes. And I know there's people watching this that are in startups, and 12 months is a long time in a startup. We were able to commit to that timeline, and the way that data was circulated throughout the company. Data is part of the circulatory vascular system of a company. You're only as healthy as a company as that data flowing through your company veins. And so we all bought into that vision, and now we're hustling to the finish line. We're almost there with that roadmap that I showed you. That's a work in progress, but isn't it always a work in progress? And I think that's where the flexibility is really key. But it really comes down to the people that you have on the team working towards that North Star, that finish line. And I can tell you, like I said, people on the team have risen to the occasion. There are all-stars popping up everywhere in CHJ right now, and they're being recognized for their work. And I couldn't be more pleased to and more honored to be representing CHG and talking about the success that we've built here.
That's wonderful. And it's so wonderful to hear how strong and united the leadership at CHG has been with you to move this forward. So let's say the other side, in the event that there's someone on this call that needs to pitch to leadership and is unsure how it would go, what would be your advice for that individual who wants to achieve strong leadership buy-in?
That's right. I feel very fortunate. We have fantastic leadership here at CHG, but I know that's not always the case. I know that from firsthand. And it really comes down to having a very strong vision and know how to tie that vision to it, the outcomes. And you got to know how to evangelize that to leadership, how to speak their language. What's in it for them? What's in it for the business? How's this going to affect the bottom line? How is this going to create a better experience for your customers? How do you pull those levers of motivation for leadership? What's the ROI? How's this going to impact the board of directors? How is this going to create more market share for your company? You need to be able to tell that story. If you can't tell that story, then you need to go back and clearly define your business case and the outcomes that you're driving and all the use cases that you're set up to deliver on. If you don't know your story and you're not constantly selling that story and evangelizing it to everyone in the elevator, in the boardroom, in the conference room, in the break room, then you're going to lose sight of the vision, and they are too. And that is absolutely key to get buy-in.
So we've talked about the technology investments, the architecture, how you've been able to inspire change, how you've worked with leadership. Now I want to tell everyone how things are now, what you've achieved, and how this investment is inspiring a new future for CHG.
Absolutely. We have a very inspiring new future right now. We have a trusted data platform that we feel like is very future-proof to technology, thanks to GrowthLoop and Snowflake. And one thing that's been really successful is, and this has been our our slogan or our tagline all year is having that one team mentality. We're all working towards the same vision, the same future. And it really has led to this new mission statement. It's very informal right now, but it's a very fun mission to kind of throw around the offices. We really want to be the career concierge for all doctors from residency to retirement. And that really has been led by our great leadership team to really instill that passion and that belief throughout the rest of the company. And we've done it from the data out. And that's what's really been helpful, is we know we can confidently move forward as a business because we have trusted, clean, and powerful data running through our entire tech stack, our entire data platform. Everyone can trust the decisions we're making, and we're all in it together as the same team.
And let's talk about what it means to now be all in it together. How are people now all together working in a healthy way, aligned to the same objectives, and really realizing that mission that's so important to CHG?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we touched on at the beginning of this session, that we weren't all sitting in a room cracking jokes together. There was a lot of competition. They weren't even sharing data. They weren't even talking. They couldn't even share notes. It was an unfortunate reality that we knew we needed to fix. And that really started with the data and the access that they had available to it. But now we have divisions working together where they weren't previously talking to each other. So the future is now to work together, cross-channel, cross-divisional team. And now each division has that same data set. And we know that with GrowthLoop, the audience overlap, when we're trying to target different audiences that are working with different divisions, we know we're not oversaturating their inbox. We're not numbing them down to the message. Previously it was sort of this Tower of Babel of this data where we didn't really know what data to trust, what data to use. And we were really just having these conversations with them that weren't personal, didn't mean anything to them. We're just sort of talking at them, not talking with them. And this data platform and the help with GrowthLoop to activate our audiences and to send them on these journeys has really led us out of sort of the Sahara of the past. We're starting to eliminate internal competition. And this new data first system architecture has really allowed for us to have the best possible outcome in the future and to drive the next possible action for both our sales enablement team, but our leadership when it comes down to the strategy.
All to help you have and fulfill that career concierge mission. That's so cool.
That's right.
And so I know you have big goals. I know you're thinking about 2025, the future. Paint us a picture for what you're looking forward to and what we should expect next for CHG and what you're able to achieve.
That's right. We really have only touched on the tip of the iceberg with our data platform and with GrowthLoop. We really have been activating providers, the doctors, and we're really excited on focusing on the enterprise client. So in client is our hospitals, our clinics, and getting into nursing and credentialing. And we're migrating to a new CRM, a new instance of Salesforce. As we alluded to earlier, we were on a 20-year-old Salesforce implementation. And we're to the point where we don't even get the new upgrades anymore. So we're really moving from a horse and buggy to a Tesla at this point. And we're really excited. Some of the use cases that we're starting to build out, this idea of a unified communications, of bringing out all of our tech stack for sales, the different telephony, SMS, text. How can we bring in all that data and make sure that we're having the right conversation at the right time on the right platform with these providers and these clients? Is really make an enterprise preference center, understanding how do these providers like to work, what time of year, what time of day, what time of the week, how do they like to travel, what areas of the country do they like to work in. We feed all this data into our machine learning models, be able to match the right jobs to the right providers at the right time, and also being able to activate transactional lifecycle programs and GrowthLoop is hopefully a future that we can come to soon, where we can provide different experiences for them, drive them back into our technology, providing paperwork and credentialing. Really, we don't want our doctors to be doing as much of the heavy lifting that it takes to get a job there's a lot of work that goes into placing a doctor in a job. And we want to do as much work as possible for them, because really what doctors want to do at the end of the day is help people and actually be doctors and be physicians, be nurses. And so we want to do that heavy lifting. And we feel like technology and a lot of the automation and communication that GrowthLoop and our data platform built on Snowflake is helping us activate and enable is going to get us there really soon.
Well, Luke, this has been awesome. I say on behalf of everybody, thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing how you were able to drive change, cultural change from the data out. Such a cool idea. And kudos to you. You said you're all about the celebrations. I want to celebrate you and the great work you have done for your organization. You really, truly are a change maker, and your story is something we all can learn from. So thank you so, so much.
It's an honor, Rebecca. Thank you so much for having me today, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of GrowthLoop Live.
Awesome. So thanks, everybody. Go ahead and head over to the lobby, and I will see you there soon for the next session. Thanks, everybody.